The report by the Integrity Commission relating to a multi-million-rand COVID-19 PPE tender. Bandile Masuku, the Gauteng Health MEC, and his wife Loyiso, as well as presidential spokesperson Khusela Diko's husband, were implicated in the alleged fraudulent awarded tender. SABC News reporter Samkele Maseko joins us now to talk about more on this. So, Samkele, I want to talk about the report itself. What do we know about the process and the findings? We know that that hasn't been released to the public. The ANC saying that that may happen tomorrow or even in the early hours of Monday. But what have we gleaned from what it's possibly saying what happened?
Well, what is pretty clear is that when it comes to the issues of the Provincial Integrity Commission report of wrongdoing when it pertains to the MEC of Health, Dr. Bandile Masuku, he seems to be adamant that he's been cleared by the Integrity Commission of the party in saying that in a detailed response that he has given to the recommendations and findings of the Integrity Commission, he says that he's very happy and welcomes the conclusion by the Integrity Commission that there's no wrongdoing on his part when it comes to the awarding of contracts of PPEs to the companies that benefited from them in the Department of Health. He's just had various questions on some of the findings and recommendations, particularly when it comes to public perception, when it comes to the issues of playing an oversight role, saying that the Integrity Commission is saying that the MEC never played an effective oversight role when it comes to the issues of the tenders, of the magnitude of what they were when it comes to the procurement of PPEs in the province. So the MEC is essentially contesting and challenging about 5 points of the Integrity Commission's recommendations and findings. But it does certainly look like the Integrity Commission report has cleared Bandile Masuku of any tender fraud in the Department of Health.
And I want to talk about that issue of oversight roles. From what you are saying, not only his challenging of the findings, but what is out there from what is being leaked, is it clear whether or not he may have played a role to influence the awarding of the tenders within that oversight, or is it saying that he could have played greater oversight?
Well, so let me just go quickly to the extract of Bandile Masuku, where he responds to Trevor Fowler of the Integrity Commission and details his various issues and findings. Particularly, let me go to the issue of oversight responsibility. Bandile Masuku says, quote, "Thirdly, I do not welcome the PIC findings that alleges that I did not exercise sufficient oversight early on. Besides the fact that the PIC does not explain what sufficient oversight is, it is in my view that this finding does not take into consideration the following facts: that the President declared the national disaster on the 15th of March 2020. The Department of Health requested for an audit into PPE procurement on the 17th of April 2020, exactly 4 weeks into the national state of disaster. As far as I am concerned, this is an intervention made very early and promptly." This is what essentially Bandile Masuku is saying, that he acted promptly when it comes to the issues of tender irregularities and the issue of the Provincial Integrity Commission, saying that he never played an effective oversight responsibility as the MEC is thus unfounded.
So what are the expectations in terms of the findings on his wife, Loyiso, as well as the presidential spokesperson, Khusela Diko, and the role that they may have played? And in short, are we going to get findings that hold them responsible or exonerate them?
At this point in time, it basically looks like when it comes to the issues of wrongdoing on the ministers, on the MEC's part rather, he's basically being exonerated by this particular Integrity Commission report. When it comes to the issues of political oversight, governance-wise, the Integrity Commission report is pretty against him. When it comes to the issues of Loyiso Masuku, she is getting off relatively unscathed from other reports that we are getting from our sources, particularly within the Provincial Executive Committee of the African National Congress. The two individuals whom may largely be affected and have adverse political repercussions for them was most likely to be Bandile Masuku and Khusela Diko, but it does look as if that their relationship may have been a public perception, and it doesn't look like it was used in the procurement of these particular tenders as it relates to the Integrity Commission reports. But the final report will be presented to the Provincial Executive Committee meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock, starting with the Provincial Working Committee meeting in the morning at 9.
Final question, Samkele, it's about the SANDF report, which was handed over to the President. We know now that the ANC as a party has offered to reimburse the Defense Department. But what position does this then put the President as head of the executive, but head of the same party?
The same president who sanctioned the move and the trip for the ANC into Zimbabwe, he was the one who communicated that the ANC will be sending a top delegation to Zimbabwe. That delegation would be composed by the Secretary General of the African National Congress, Ace Magashule, and effectively that they would go and engage with ZANU-PF after President Cyril Ramaphosa had an engagement with the President of ZANU-PF and the General Secretary of ZANU-PF, Emmerson Mnangagwa, and that Mnangagwa had said to President Ramaphosa that the Politburo of ZANU-PF would like to have an engagement with the African National Congress. So the President, in the words of the economic freedom fighters, President Julius Malema, he's just playing gimmicks when it comes to the issues of wanting a report from the Minister of Defense, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, because the President was thoroughly briefed when it comes to the issues of the ANC have to travel to Zimbabwe, but he may have not been briefed on how they would be traveling to the country. It would be rather bizarre, knowing that the President had placed the country into lockdown and had blocked the borders of the country with regulations of lockdown level 2. The international borders had not yet been closed, so it would be rather curious to know that how would President Ramaphosa be thinking that his top-level ANC delegation would be traveling to Zimbabwe, knowing that there are no commercial flights out of the country. In fact, the President is pretty much has to answer a lot of questions, just like the Minister of Defense, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, and not shielding the President from accounting.
Thank you, Samkele. SABC News reporter Samkele Maseko. We're going to take a quick break. Do stay with us. More on lockdown level 1 and how it affects those going back to school, the teachers themselves, and whether or not the public safety protocols, resources are there. That's all coming up shortly.